When evaluating the quality of Roman leadership, it is crucial to take into account both the positive and negative aspects. Throughout the ancient Roman Empire's history, there were undoubtedly instances of effective leadership that contributed to its growth and prosperity. However, it is also important to acknowledge that there were notable examples of poor leadership that had detrimental effects on the empire. One of the positive aspects of Roman leadership was their ability to establish a well-organized system of governance. The Roman leaders implemented various administrative reforms that allowed for efficient administration and effective management of resources. They developed a legal framework, known as the 12 Tables, which provided a foundation for fair and just governance. The Roman Senate held immense power and influence in the governance of the Roman Empire. It served as a legislative body, responsible for making important decisions on matters of state, passing laws, and overseeing administrative affairs. With its membership consisting of esteemed senators from noble families, the Senate played a crucial role in shaping Roman politics and policies. However, despite its significant role, the Senate was not immune to corruption and political maneuvering. Some senators prioritized their personal interests over the well-being of the empire, leading to ineffective policies and a lack of accountability. The pursuit of power and wealth often clouded their judgment, resulting in decisions that were detrimental to the empire as a whole. One prominent example of this corruption was observed during the final years of the Roman Republic. Political factions within the Senate engaged in intense rivalries and power struggles, vying for control over Rome's resources and territories. This internal strife weakened the Republic's ability to effectively govern itself and contributed to its eventual downfall. Moreover, bribery and manipulation were not uncommon within this esteemed institution. Wealthy senators would often use their financial resources to influence decision-making processes or secure favorable outcomes for themselves or their allies. This undermined the principles of fairness and impartiality that should have guided senatorial actions. The lack of accountability within the Senate also contributed to its shortcomings. As an oligarchic institution where membership was largely hereditary or based on social status, there were limited mechanisms in place to hold senators accountable for their actions or ensure transparency in decision-making processes. Despite these flaws, it is important to note that not all senators succumbed to corruption or placed personal interests above those of Rome. Many honorable individuals dedicated themselves to serving the empire with integrity and promoting policies that aimed at its betterment. In conclusion, while playing a crucial role in governance and decision-making, the Roman Senate was not immune to corruption and political maneuvering. The pursuit of personal gain by some senators often overshadowed the well-being of the empire, leading to ineffective policies and a lack of accountability. However, it is essential to recognize that not all senators were involved in such practices, as there were those who remained committed to upholding the best interests of Rome. Furthermore, some Roman leaders displayed exceptional military prowess and strategic thinking. Figures such as Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar successfully expanded the empire through conquests, bringing stability and economic prosperity to many regions under Roman rule. Their military achievements showcase strong leadership skills in terms of mobilizing troops, implementing tactical maneuvers, and maintaining discipline within their armies. However, it is essential to recognize that not all Roman leaders possess these positive qualities consistently. There were instances where poor leadership decisions had significant consequences for the empire. For example, Emperor Nero's extravagant lifestyle and mismanagement led to financial difficulties and strained relations with the Senate. Nero was notorious for his lavish spending on luxurious palaces, public spectacles, and personal indulgences. These excessive expenses placed a tremendous strain on the Roman treasury. To finance his extravagance, Nero resorted to imposing heavy taxes on the citizens of Rome. This further burdened an already struggling economy and caused widespread discontent among the population. Additionally, Nero's mismanagement of state resources led to rampant corruption and inefficiency within the government. The strained relations between Emperor Nero and the Senate were largely due to his disregard for their authority. He frequently bypassed Senate approval by making decisions unilaterally, which undermined their power and influence in governing Rome. This centralization of power resulted in growing resentment from senators who felt marginalized. Furthermore, Emperor Nero's unpredictable behavior contributed to deteriorating relationships with both senators and other influential figures in Roman society. His penchant for violence and cruelty led to numerous political assassinations as well as clashes with powerful families such as the Pisonian conspiracy against him. Ultimately, these financial difficulties and strained relations played a significant role in contributing to Emperor Nero's downfall. The discontent among citizens combined with growing animosity from influential factions set the stage for a rebellion that eventually led to his forced abdication from power in AD 68. In the aftermath of Julius Caesar's ascent to dictatorship, significant changes occurred within the Roman Republic, resulting in a series of consequential events. Caesar's consolidation of power ultimately led to a devastating civil war and the gradual erosion of republican values that had been central to the Roman political system for centuries. This marked a turning point in Roman history, as the traditional balance between democratic processes and individual authority shifted dramatically under Caesar's rule. Caesar's rise to dictatorship indeed had far-reaching consequences for the Roman Republic. As he consolidated power, his actions sparked a series of events that would change the course of Roman history. One significant outcome was the outbreak of a civil war. Caesar's ascent to dictatorship created political divisions within Rome, as some factions resisted his autocratic rule. This led to armed conflict between Caesar's forces and those who opposed him, resulting in a devastating civil war that lasted several years. Furthermore, Caesar's consolidation of power also brought about changes in the political structure of Rome. The traditional balance between democratic processes and individual authority, which had been central to the Roman Republic for centuries, began to shift dramatically under his rule. Republican values such as checks and balances and shared decision-making were gradually eroded as Caesar exerted more control over state affairs. This turning point marked a significant departure from the past and set a precedent for future leaders seeking personal power rather than adhering to republican principles. The transition from a republic to an autocracy laid the foundation for subsequent emperors like Augustus and the establishment of imperial rule in Rome. In summary, Julius Caesar's consolidation of power after ascending to dictatorship led to a devastating civil war and caused profound changes within the Roman Republic. The erosion of republican values marked a turning point in Roman history and set the stage for future shifts towards autocratic rule. Additionally, power struggles among different factions within Rome often resulted in weak or ineffective rulers ascending to positions of authority. These leaders lacked vision or failed to address pressing issues facing the empire adequately. This lack of strong leadership at times led to internal conflicts, political instability, and ultimately contributed to Rome's decline. In conclusion, examining the quality of Roman leadership requires considering both positive and negative aspects. While there were undoubtedly instances of effective governance and military prowess displayed by certain leaders throughout history, there were also notable examples of poor decision-making or weak leadership that had adverse consequences for the ancient Roman Empire's stability and longevity.